This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by the Dragon Nanny Kickstarter, going live September 1st at 8 p.m. Dragon Nanny is a 104-page graphic novel about a little robot on a mission to find and hatch as many dragon eggs as he can on a slumbering world. All the dragons have disappeared, and it's up to one lone robot to find and hatch them back to life. You can find the Kickstarter through chasingartwork.com or going to Kickstarter.com and searching Dragon Nanny.
Attention, citizens! It's time for Super Pulp Science!
This is the return of Super Pulp Science, a podcast all about how genre gets made. I am so happy to be back in the studio with Justin Curry, also known as Chasing Artwork, and producer Dan Vadeboncoeur. We have a slightly different setup right now. We are about 5 meters away from each other, connected by long cords.
Long cords. It's kind of fun.
The new COVID reality has kept us away for 6 months. And we are masked up in the studio, and we are far away from each other, and we are just doing our very best to return to some semblance of normalcy. So, thanks for those of you who tuned in after how many episodes of the worst sound quality in the history of Super Pulp Science.
There were complaints.
Were there really?
My dad wasn't happy.
Oh, sorry, Greg. Sorry.
He's hard of hearing, though, so it's especially tough on him.
Well, I can, if you want to just get into the technical aspect of it for a minute, one of the reasons, because I did give you a better microphone than what you have, but one of the reasons there was an issue is that we had issues with headphones. You guys didn't have headphones, or you didn't have headphones that would connect properly.
Yeah, they weren't.
Bluetooth wouldn't work, and your new Mac doesn't have a port for headphones.
That's right.
So it's Apple's fault. But the reason why, what makes, I've been doing a lot of remote podcasting with different groups and different podcasts over the last few months, and really what you need is a good set of headphones that won't allow what you're hearing to enter the microphone, and so there's no echo. Because otherwise I get files from each of you guys, and there's 3 versions of me talking in all 3 files, right? So I have to cut out 2 of those versions, and it's very, very time consuming to do that. So basically what I would do is take the best sounding file of the 3 that I have and use that for the podcast to save myself time, unfortunately. So it was partly my fault because I didn't want to put the work in, but that's just the reality of it. So
our very first episode of this podcast, of course, was us starting the journey of podcasting. And what's been interesting is we've learned a little bit every season all along the way about things that we thought we had locked.
Well, this whole pandemic has thrown a wrench into every part of life, right? And this is actually affecting what I'm teaching my students coming up. We're doing all of our classes online, and I'm teaching them how to podcast this way as well, like remotely with somebody else who's in a different location. So
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you guys been up to?
So many things. Like our last episode was how long ago now? Like that we recorded.
With Hannah.
It
wasn't that long ago.
Well, it took me a while to get it up. So to be fair, you guys gave me that audio, and then it took me a few weeks to get that finally edited.
Time has acquired a new meaning to me, a different meaning.
It's been funny with everybody's conversations, when you haven't seen somebody in a couple months, and first thing you always ask is, what's new with you? And the COVID answer is, well, nothing, because there's nothing that can be new.
What's funny about that too is that people who are not taking it very seriously resent the question. I've noticed. If you're like, oh, it's been hard, or oh, it's been weird, and there are people who have been ignoring the social distancing rules or whatever, they feel like it's a challenge to their way of life that you took it seriously. Okay. So if you're one of those people listening, we're not casting any dispersions. We just hope you're all safe and sound. That's the key feature of all of this. If you're rolling the dice and playing the numbers game, well, I spent the last 3 months working on probabilities for a role-playing game. You're not as lucky as you think.
And just for reference, our last episode was posted July 8th. So it's been almost 2 months since we've had a new episode.
Right.
And this marks, of course, the beginning of season 4.
Is this season 4? I was
of
going
this
to ask.
podcast, yeah.
Season 4.
So
That's usually one of the best seasons is usually season 4 or 5. 6, 7 is always going downhill.
that's when,
jumps
yeah.
the shark.
Well, then we'll
Yeah.
add a new character. It's usually what happens. You kill someone or add a new character.
Somebody younger. and
Somebody will have a
prettier.
baby and
That's
have
right.
a new child. Yeah.
And then that child gets, in a later episode, advanced in age so that they
Right.
are, what they usually do in shows is make them sexually available to other characters on the show. That's
watching?
usually, that's what happened during Angel. Remember? They're like,
Right.
oh, Cordelia can't have a baby. Let's make him a hot dude. Right?
Right. That's
So-
right.
So we've got lots of tricks that we can pull.
Yeah.
Right? That's no problem. One of the things that happened while we were on the break is the new Ghostbuster art book came out that both Justin and I have artwork in. So that was pretty exciting to see it out in the world. Justin sent me I don't know where you were. You were at a bookstore or something.
I was at McNally. I went through McNally for the first time since February. Just kind of missing a bookstore.
Yeah, I was there a while ago too. I didn't see that one, but that was maybe before it was released.
Well, the
Probably sold out immediately.
the section that I always beeline for is they have the art of Pixar, the art of video
Right.
games, the art of whatever is a tiny little section hidden kind of by the music. It's not with the other art
the other
books.
comic books or anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it was like front and center. It's a huge book. It's like a 12 by 10 monster sized book, and yeah,
So
just
great.
full of Ghostbusters art.
Yeah.
They did a Firefly one. We totally missed that.
I actually didn't
Did you get
miss
something
it.
in?
I almost had my composition together, and then all that's just that first 2 months of
Was it
Slovid
that- yeah.
happened, and all of the wind was out of my sails, and the whole world was in turmoil, and my whole life was in upside down, and trying to figure that all out. And I just said, I could super stress about this, or I could just let that one go.
But the
let
company
that
that
one
does
go.
this Printed in Blood, kind of their business model is they go and they get the licensing rights for Ghostbusters, The Thing, Stranger Things,
Firefly.
and then it's not an open call. You have to confirm. You have to send them some work, and they'll let you in, kind of thing.
Yeah, you get on a list. They also have a message board now that apprises people who are inside the list
Right.
about upcoming projects. So we know of a few.
And then
Good
it's
ones.
just fan art. It's just awesome artists doing awesome fan art pieces of these awesome titles. And we originally ran into them at New York Comic Con years ago. And this was they were doing John Carpenter's The Thing, and they had no idea if anybody was going to want this book, and they didn't know if they were going to be able to get enough artists. They were very careful about what they were promising. But if you want to put in artwork, you're more than welcome. And The Thing exploded.
And one of the advantages to us had always been that because we were doing so many shows, these became licensed artwork that we were permitted to sell a certain number. Usually it was around 200.
200, yeah.
So that you had that. It separated you from the fan art pack in that we ended up with a number of licensed properties that we were allowed to then put front and center and have your name attached to.
Legitimate fan art. So to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah,
It's
well, you mean all
not-
fan art
it's legitimate, but
is legitimate. It's a gray area as to what.
official fan art.
sell.
Can we say that?
Yeah, I don't know how you.
Yeah.
Even yes.
Licensed fan art?
Licensed fan art.
That
yeah.
seems like
Yeah. Like when Shepard Fairey did Obama's face,
he got in trouble for that.
he ended
'cause,
up getting in trouble for making that fan art, and then they used it for the campaign, right? So
Right, of course.
it's a very it's a quagmire. So that's something that was kind of exciting that happened. Also, that came as a direct result of the COVID scenario is that I was contacted by Dr. Gillian Horton to do a bunch of comics for the OMA, which is the Ontario Medical Association. So I've done 5 now stories, what are it's called Sketches from the Front Line. And I'm illustrating Gillian's accounts of interviews she's had with doctors who are on the front line of the whole crisis.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And so we put that together as a series of things available on OMA's website, so you can check it out there. But recent rumblings is that it is likely to be collected as a book or a collected volume, so
Nice.
that's pretty cool. And I brought Lyndon Rachenko in to do lettering on that. And
I want to give him a nickname, Lyndon the Lever Rachenka.
Lyndon
Letterer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LLR.
Lettering Linden.
Lettering Linden. And he just knocked it out of the park every time. So it was a really, tight deadlines. We'd have really short turnarounds when each story came in versus when it had to come out. And he just came in that last moment of every project to just link it all together. For people who don't know about comics in general or are wondering about how to get their comics to the next sort of professional polish, a good letterer is worth their weight in gold. It's that if you think about like a really beautiful painting, the last 10% is what really ties it all together, right? That last little highlight in the eye, the frame, something. Yeah, Justin, you're a monster. The last little highlighted in the eye, the last little bit of texture, the last little bit that brings it from looking like, okay, that's a painting to, oh, that's a work of art. A good lettering really does solidify your comics page, so it's been good working with him. Dr. Jonathan Ball and I have a new book announcement. We are publishing Eye Collector through Heavy Metal in their new Creator-Owned Virus imprint. And Lyndon's letterer on that. Letterer Lyndon, Dr. Ball, and myself on illustration and co-creation. So we'll do a whole podcast episode on how that came together, and we'll bring everyone on.
Are you afraid of dragons?
No. In fact, if it weren't for sorcerers, there wouldn't be any dragons.
But the real thing worth talking about, Justin is being his humble self over there, is that Justin for months has done nothing but slave on his computer, writing, illustrating, storyboarding, researching, everything that there is to do to put the Dragon Nanny book together. He took the ball and ran with it in such a great way. And we're hoping that the touchdown he scores will be on Kickstarter, which launches September 1st.
8 p.m. it goes live. And we've always talked about doing a Kickstarter. I've always wanted to do a Kickstarter. But it always, all the horror stories you hear come from, if they become successful, people aren't prepared for the amount of work that will be involved.
Right.
And even like finishing the projects themselves. I'm
going to pause there and ask you a clarifying question.
Yeah.
What are those problems that people usually see?
So early on, when like Kickstarter was still like in its infancy, I think you could only do it if you were American. It was only in the States. And not too many graphic novels were up there yet. Like it was more kind of new technologies, right? Like people wanted to make new 3D printers, and they wanted to get funding for inventions almost. It seemed like initially.
Yeah.
And
the
then
first thing I saw was a Faraday backpack, a backpack that wouldn't let anyone steal your information because you'd put your cell phone in it and it would cut it off from all networks. That was the first Kickstarter project I ever saw.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now I think the standard thing, my wallet has that technology now.
Yeah, right.
Right,
that's
because
crazy.
people can scan, do a tap purchase
Right.
against your wallet. And so one of the artists that I was following online, I saw did a Kickstarter, and he was asking for he just wanted to print the graphic novel. So I think he was asking for $8,000 to $10,000, which was like a big ask at the time, especially for like a comic book. And he ended up getting over 200, and this was like record breaking at the time for a graphic novel getting that overfunded.
Which you'd think should be amazing instant success.
Would be amazing, right?
We crowdfunded $200,000. What could go
200
wrong?
grand. Yeah. He was on a podcast like a year later, and by the end of everything, he was $30,000 in debt, and he had almost gone through a relationship, and he had to hire his family or get his family to take days off work to help him fulfill everything. He was not sleeping because he was so stressed out about the problem that had snowballed out of this success.
And to clarify that for the dear listener, if you happen to be in Australia, we love you as a person, but sending you anything by the mail,
It's like $40 minimum.
That's not their fault.
it's not your fault. But so I've heard of a number of Kickstarters that make worldwide shipping a thing, and then people just a flat rate, And then people from those countries that are used to having to pay so much more for shipping jump on board because, hey, it doesn't cost $80 to ship something today. Let's get this thing.
Yeah. And that's a lot of the times where the problems came in was the shipping costs were an unforeseen. Like they didn't realize how much it was going to be to ship all these books to Germany and Japan and Australia. And suddenly they were losing money on every purchase.
So you've done all your due diligence. You've figured all that out. Justin was like weighing things. He bought a scale. He got a new program for calculating mail things. Did a bunch of practice.
Well, yeah. So
shipping.
actually, before the Kickstarter, the San Diego Comic-Con weekend was middle of July, and so as part of I Miss Comic-Cons, I opened up my online store to sell Comic-Con exclusive foil prints that I normally would only sell at conventions, but since none of us can really enjoy that for a while, I opened up the store. And it was the first time that I'd sold pieces like just prints from the studio. I usually just do books, which are a lot more durable, and I normally don't promote it quite as much. But this foil store, it became a much bigger success than I was expecting it. So I suddenly had like 200 orders to fulfill all over the world, and I learned a couple things real quick.
He can go without sleep. He learned that.
I think you knew that already. Based on how many times I've come to the studio and he's been up all night.
We have a lot of floor space in the studio for fulfilling things.
So like when I was selling books online, they would usually come, like the store was always open, and it would usually be like 1 or 2 a week. It was just kind of a steady trickle. And this all of a sudden was all at once. And usually my big bottleneck was I would go to the post office and I would have to hand write out the declarations form, and that took forever. And especially if I had like 10 books, I'd be holding up the line and it'd be stressful, and yeah, everybody hated me for it, and I didn't like it
Your
either.
stress came from your empathy for others. If you got rid of that, you'd probably have a lot less stress.
So then I finally did some research and found the online shipping options where you fill in everything online and you print out your own labels, and then the post office just has to pick it up and scan it. And you no longer have to go to the post office. You no longer have to wait in line. You set a pickup date and they just come and grab everything, and you've already paid for it online and it's gone. And so that was like, suddenly my world changed a little bit. I no longer have to deal with an actual post office. But then the other thing that's kind of going on right now is COVID is slowing all the mail down, but people don't realize that all the mail is slowed down because of COVID. Everybody's still expecting Amazon delivery times.
Yeah.
And so it was met with like a lot of like, where is this package? It's been like a couple days. So
it's been 4 days.
It's been a week.
How come it hasn't reached
where's
me
the
yet?
package?
Yeah.
And I was kind of frustrated too. I'm like, well, it said it should be there like 5 to 10 days, and it's definitely been more than that. So I don't know either. I've been shipping stuff for like 10 years. I've never had this amount of everything's just delayed everywhere, because not only are people being laid off in like the mail world, but they all have to be careful about social distancing. So like it bottlenecks at customs, it's bottlenecking as soon as it's like going out of the country. Everybody in Canada got theirs right away, but if it was going anywhere else, like huge delays. And then I was talking to other friends who used to do conventions, and now they're just doing their Etsy full time. And same deal, like their 5 to 10 business days, they've had sometimes up to 9 weeks. It's been sitting in customs.
Wild.
Just because it's so backlogged.
You'll know the time. You must act while life is still in me.
In an ideal world, if it gets funded for the amount of books that I've asked for, we'll have books by early November, and by late November, I hope to have all the shipments out. But if it gets overfunded and that number is much bigger, printing is going to take longer and shipping is going to take longer. So suddenly that promise can no longer be kept.
Don't you have to put a delivery date on the Kickstarter?
You do.
You do
and
it
that's
like
why,
a delivery window.
Yes.
And then in updates, we've talked to a number of people who've done Kickstarters about this specific fact, and the correlated advice is all things being what is stated, if you ask for X and you get only X, then you can guarantee that shipping time, and you should, and that's what we've researched, and that's what we're guaranteeing. But if it goes above what we've asked, then of course you can't know how much above what is being asked.
But you just have to be
and what that calculation is. So you just be transparent.
Yeah.
Hey, we have an extra 100 orders. It's going to take us a month more to send it to you guys.
Okay.
Right?
And some people still won't read that and immediately demand, like, hey, where's my book?
Yeah.
But
apparently, now this is apocryphal, so I don't know if this is in fact true, but I heard from someone else talking about how they did Kickstarters that you can check the date of the backing on the Kickstarter.
oh, you can change it.
No, I mean,
Oh.
like, you can see which backers backed on what dates.
Oh.
And so you can make sure that those people who were the first to back get theirs mailed to them first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that you can...
I'm counting on that because
Yeah.
I have a 72-hour print incentive where you get this free foil print
Oh, yeah, you gave us a sample
in the first
today.
72 hours. Yeah.
But the sirens. Welcome back, sirens. By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is I've got one right here, and it's amazing. It's very, very cool.
I
Foil print.
love foil printing now. It's my new favorite thing.
So
Every
for
new
the dear
piece.
listener who doesn't know what a foil print is,
It's you take a normal like digital print and you run it through this extra process called foil stamping, and they take the paper and they hit it with a metallic layer of gold, silver. There's about 6 or 7 different colors that you can get done. But the nanny robot is kind of like an orangey gold, so I made this gold nanny Gundam hybrid, much more badass looking mech than the one that appears in the kids book.
yeah, the super cute version is in the book.
Yeah.
And then the people who have followed Justin's like badass damaged fighting robot style can still get the thing they like the most about him.
That was part of the plan because that's this whole project. Normally, its life cycle was supposed to take place at conventions at my table, along with all my other prints. And on Kickstarter, I really tried to bring in as much of the convention as I could. So there's lots of tiers that include signed prints and other things that you'd find at my table at a Comic-Con. So it's not just the book itself; it's all my other artwork that I've been working on for years as well.
And not only that, Will Little came back
Oh my
onto
God.
this project with us. Yeah,
Is
you
that
can
new?
see it there. Tell them what you see.
I see a 3D printed Dragon Nanny. It's now when I first saw this, when we had Will on the podcast, it was a much smaller version. You guys are
Yeah.
trying a couple different ways to print it, but
Look at
that is
that.
like it's good. What 6 inches? No, 5
About
inches.
6.5
and a
tall
half.
with the ears.
It's
the
pretty big.
antenna.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Bigger than the other one was, and it's a statue of the robot.
He's
Very cool.
iterated it to a perfection that like 3 versions ago, I was like, wow, I'm so proud of what we've done. And then each new version, I'm like, wow, this gets, whoa.
Yeah.
So shout out to Will Little, who is really rocking it on here. Tonight he has, no, that was yesterday. No,
That was
tonight.
yesterday. Yeah.
Oh.
Yesterday he did a presentation for New Media Manitoba on 3D printing and stuff like that. But yeah, talking to him, the amount he's learned, like he's been a 3D artist for years. And I think like a lot of people think, okay, if you're a 3D artist, then you're just going to be able to take that file and hit print. And no, there's all this like, even just like the physics of like you're printing something that's lopsided. Well, when you're printing it, you need to build all these little structures that are going to hold it up as it's getting printed that you can break off later. Because if you don't have all those little structures in there, it's going to fall over in the printer when it's halfway built because it doesn't have its, it's
And for the sake
all these
of,
other things.
For the sake of the listener that is joining us for the first time because it's our season premiere episode with good sound quality again, when you say 3D artist, I think there's a lot of people who we're taking for granted that we know all that applications and what that means and how you have that as a job. But explain for the dear listener what a 3D artist is.
Well, Will
and
Little
does.
is the lead 3D artist at Complex Games. So that means he takes... So, for example, we worked on a Warhammer game together when I worked there like years ago. And so I would take sketches of Warhammer-esque buildings, and then I'd give them to Will, and he would bring them into programs like Maya or ZBrush, and he would construct the 3D version of it. And he would do it in such a way that it's efficient data-wise, so you can fit a lot of these on a small file, so they can play on your phone on like a quick rate kind of thing.
It's like sculpting with polygons.
Yeah.
And if you match that, and Willa hopefully will, I wish it was a call-in show so he could call in and correct us. But depending on the poly count, of course, it takes a different amount of data space.
Yes.
And so they optimize it so that it always looks good at the place you're supposed to see it and the way you're supposed to see it. And there's a whole artistry involved in making it optimized for different games and different engines at different scales. And so for the 3D printing, right, it's like a physical scale, right? It looks smooth because it is smooth. It doesn't just look smooth at a distance.
And then other things like we've tried, this one is hollow. We made the base and the torso hollow, and we're like, that's like a little too light. Well, let's try a version where we just fill make it solid, like so there's no hollow inside. It's just an entire solid resin thing, and it made the printing so much. It used so much resin that it was running out of resin halfway through all the prints. We have all these versions where it's like the top of its head is cut off and stuff because we ran out of resin. And then the other thing was, as this resin
like
is
a chocolate bunny, same thing.
It's like a chocolate bunny, yeah.
Right.
And then the drainage, he figured out like if he has ways for the resin to kind of drain out of the bigger things, and he doesn't get like these pools of unwanted resin. Like there's just all these little intricacies that none of us had any clue about.
And it's like a science fiction movie. It's like lasers hardening a polymer in a little suspension bath.
It's like the way they put together Lilu in The Fifth Element.
Exactly.
Yes,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's so cool because this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and I know those of you who've been into 3D printing for a decade are like, it's late to the party, Gregory. Yeah, I get it. But now it is impressive to the point where like we bought one off the shelf.
Consumer grade 3D printing is getting amazing, and it's only going to just get way better from here.
This is Sicarius Draconum, Dragon Slayer. The best I ever made. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the process took Will months to figure out, but now that we have it figured out. He doesn't have to change the file much, but the printing still takes a lot of time. So there's not a whole lot of, it's about 4 days of printing to get one of these little guys made. And that's because
unlike Lilu Dallas, it doesn't just appear inside of like a single panning shot and then suddenly there's a toy. I wish that's true.
We'll get there.
Eventually,
we'll get there
yes. And eventually it's going to be like the replicators on Star Trek.
The movie does take place like 300 years in the future. So.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to wait that long.
So is this something that's going to be offered on the Kickstarter, these statuettes?
Yeah, so there's going to be 10 of these. That was the other good news. Originally, we were thinking we could get 5 done. Will has streamlined things, and now with, originally I was very tight with the delivery date, but then everybody kind of recommended, like, with shipping being what it is right now, with uncertainties, if anything happens, you're not going to be able to meet that deadline. So we've pushed the delivery date to January 2021, and that just ensures that everybody will have it in January 2021, hopefully earlier is what I really want to happen. But if I promise them for December, there's a chance that people wouldn't get them by December, and that's the worst thing you could do to somebody, right? I think you'll have this by Christmas, and then it doesn't show up by Christmas.
You just ruined Christmas.
I want to say you're going to have it by January, and ideally it shows up by Christmas is what I
That
really
makes
want
Christmas
to happen.
better.
Yeah, we're trying to, under-promise and then work hard to over-deliver, right? So
Scotty does.
So there's not as much. You like Scotty,
Yeah.
on Star Trek,
Yeah.
So there's not as much disappointment, and then we'll seem like we've pulled off a miracle. The other good thing that I'm really excited about seeing, like the finished version of on the project, like when it all comes together with the book, is the back matter. Like we tend to, all the books up until now that we've done, we usually put a sketch section or like a couple of pages of how the project came together or whatever. But Dragon Nanny is a much more extensive how-to, really, of how this project came together, what the steps were, what the rough sketches looked like from a little doodle to a 2D illustration to a 3D model back to a 2D vector illustration, and all the sort of little things we did along the way. So, what I really hope is that someone that picks up the book who just likes the story, that's one thing. But as they grow up a little and they say, I wonder how you do this, right? There'll be this little section in the back that really tells them everything we got wrong along the way, sort of.
And I think that's kind of missing from like everybody's childhood books that they grew up on. Like Bernstein Bears really should have had every once in a while, like, here's how we work, and show like Mr. and Mrs. Bernstein, like,
and here's how our name is really spelled in this pocket universe.
You get that,
no Mandela effect jokes?
Oh, okay. Well, okay, because everyone thinks it was Berenstain Bears, and it's A-I-N, not E-I-N.
Not convinced. Don't believe in the Mandela effect.
I remember it as E-I-N, but apparently it is A-I-N, and it always has been A-I-N.
Right.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. We're in
like
a
that
different
Shazam
universe. Movie. Yeah. The Shazam movie?
Yeah.
No, the Kazam.
Oh, Kazam. I thought it was the other way.
Anyway.
Oh, my God. The universe is splintering even as we're speaking about it.
Right.
And I think all that behind-the-scenes stuff happened in Dragon Nanny because at the same time that COVID was happening, I was getting ready to print my next art book, and I had to put that on hold because my art books are specifically made for comic convention touring to sell at the table. And so I just kind of switched gears. I put that one on the back burner and switched to Dragon Nanny, but I was still in like, I want to make an art book mode. And so I just kind of put all that into...
So you kind of get an extra art book with Dragon Nanny as part of the book.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Like a making of tutorial, sort of.
That's easy. That's
well,
awesome.
what's neat too about that process is one of the cool things that's going to be on the actual Kickstarter when it launches. He's put together this little animation reel. It's like a short little thing that shows like from a sketch to a finished illustration in a like
a GIF.
A little GIF, but a little like stop motion. It's. I mean, I've been working on it, and I was still like, whoa.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's cool. So that's live as of, well, maybe we're going to try and have this podcast up on the 1st earlier than 8 p.m. So check at where can people find the Kickstarter?
Yeah, it might be live right now.
Well, yeah, it'll be live as of 8 p.m. September 1st at
Kickstarter.com/Dragon Nanny.
Or just search Dragon Nanny. I'm sure you'll find it. I don't think there's anything else named
here
that.
was the other mistake I made that I realized. So
learn from us, dear listener.
When you make a Kickstarter account, you choose your kind of your company name. Since I was making this for Dragon Nanny, I made my like Kickstarter.com/Dragon Nanny. But it turns out that was like, that should have been Chasing Artwork. Oh. So the actual website is Kickstarter.com/Dragon Nanny/Dragon Nanny. It's like Dragon Nanny twice.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like the Dragon Nanny company is making the Dragon Nanny project when it should be like Chasing Artwork/Dragon Nanny. So if I do another one, but
we looked up. We were in the back end checking it out, and I was like, he's like, I'm sure we can change that. And so he's poking around on how to change it, and I Google which is usually a good way to solve most problems. Look for the message boards of people trying to solve that same problem. And there's like this huge bold thing from Kickstarter that it's like, do not, right? Click OK, because once you have clicked OK, you cannot change this setting.
It seems like there's something they should tell you as you're doing it.
And maybe they did, like they were asking for a lot of information. I'm just going through and filling it all out. And I'm just like, well, this is for the Dragon Nanny Kickstarter. So that's what I'm putting in there. And,
I mean, it makes sense if you are doing one project, if it's a done in one. Our hope, though, is, of course, if it's not 1 year of no shows, but 2 or 3 or,
So this means you have to change your company name to Dragon Nanny.
No, we just have to, like, go through actual Kickstarter headquarters to get it changed after this. I'm sure it'll be a bit of a process, but we can
it's like getting your Netflix account switched once you've had it for a few years.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the dream of this, is because trade shows and school visits and book touring, any kind of like big social event where I would sell my stuff is not a thing. If Kickstarter works, and I really hope it does, then that's immediately green lights the next 2 books like right away. I don't have to wait and make money off freelance and doing other things for those books. I know where they're going, so I can start working on them right away.
Now the cautious listener says, well, but Kickstarter is not a sure thing. Its very nature is that it's not a sure thing. that we accept. But when we print a book and take it to shows, that's also not a sure thing. We've had books that sold faster than others. We've had books that work and don't work. Publishing is not a sure thing. The reason why we like Kickstarter, why it works for our model, is that Kickstarter takes the distributor out of the middle and makes us the distributor. And when you can control the means of production, you can control what is the most important part of any endeavor, earning a living wage at it, which is our goal.
It also takes it's essentially a pre-order service for the book, so it gives you a sense of what the market demand is for the book. So if I'm knocking on wood here, because I believe you will make your goal, no problem, but in the event that you don't and you fall short, everyone's big when they're hesitant about Kickstarter, it's like, well, if you don't make it all, you don't get anything, as opposed to things like GoFundMe or other crowdsourcing platforms where you can get whatever you make. Kickstarter, you set your goal, and then if you don't get that goal, you don't get anything. Right. But it doesn't mean you can't redo another Kickstarter and set the goal a little bit lower to try and meet the demand. You can do that, and people do that. That's right. But I have full confidence in you guys. I know that you're going to make your goal. And
in doing my research as well, like one of the big things of why this happened is because of that Starlight game.
Yeah.
Right? I was the main artist on the Starlight board game.
Funded many times over.
Yeah.
Right?
And then so that's when I really started, okay, well, I'm going to do a Kickstarter. I'm going to start doing all my research. And one of the interesting things was board games are almost all going to Kickstarter right now.
Yeah.
That's like where the community is. And then talking to Brendan, the guy behind the Starlight Kickstarter, which has actually been rebranded recently because of a copyright thing. Yeah, so it has a new name now. Stars of Icarios. Yeah, unfortunately, Starlight was approached by a older video game company that had a very similar name video game, and even though they, it was totally, they were being a little petty and hoping that they could jump on the success of this board game.
Right.
I don't
so
know.
for how it works, of course, is that you. When you come out with a product, if somebody has what they believe to be a previously existing product, that your new product is going to encroach upon that name recognition, and that maybe was a success because of that name recognition, they will often send you, one of two things happens. They send you a letter that says, you owe us some money, you used our name. Or if they're a little bit nicer about it, it will be, hey, I think you used this name in error. Please change the name, and then we don't have any further problems.
Or you can keep using it if you pay us.
Also true. Yeah, that's usually the third follow-up.
Right.
So the cool thing about Kickstarter is that if it gets big, usually those companies that might need you to change it are going to reach out to you after the fact. You do all the due diligence you can, but it's actually hasn't been launched yet. You might have been paid for it. You've pre-sold it. If it turned out that some gigantic previous megacorp also has a Dragon Nanny somewhere, and they reach back to us and say, I'm sorry, you can't use this name. Before the book is printed, we can change the name, still fulfill the Kickstarter. It doesn't get in the way of that because you haven't produced the final physical object yet.
Now, you had done the original wordmark for Starlight, the first version of the game. Did you do this one as well?
I did not, no.
Okay.
I kind of wish I had done it.
They still kind of used your A.
Yeah, they took my files and, yeah. I would have fine-tuned it a little bit more than they did.
Yeah. But maybe they had to do it quickly.
I think that was it. I think they needed it to be done ASAP, and I was already moved on to other things.
Every one of us needs this sacrifice. If you intend to interfere, you'll have to kill me.
One interesting fact is a lot of successful Kickstarters is the Kickstarter community coming in. It's not, sometimes it is like somebody has a massive following and that following comes to Kickstarter to support them. But in a lot of cases, it's just people who have never heard of you before and just finding you through Kickstarter. So there's a huge community there that you can really take advantage of or get access to if you do it through there.
And that community is so analogous to the kind of community that I love about shows, because like my graphic novels, they're usually a little bit weird, a little bit like strange, a little bit esoteric. They're not the kind of thing that a person normally finds in their everyday shopping experience. But at a convention, right, people are looking for that new thing they've never heard of. So many people in those tens of thousands that come through will say things like, oh, this is cool. I've never heard of it. And that's why they bought it. So Kickstarter is like that. That community is, they want to support a thing that's a good idea that they haven't seen before.
I just saw recently some of your books at Value Village.
Oh.
That's amazing. That's the whole life cycle.
I don't remember which ones it was, though. I can't remember which series it was.
Imagination Manifesto.
Yes, that's it. Imagination Manifesto.
I've heard that from
Yeah.
people, and they say it to me with this bit of a cringe, but you have to recognize.
I was like, oh, no. And then I saw our friend Chad's Thunder Road. I thought
that
there too.
means it's lived its life.
Yes.
That's the
And it
life
gets the
cycle of a
second
book.
life, the
To
second
be
life to somebody
read,
else.
to be enjoyed, to be shared, to end up as a secondhand book, to be read again.
Yes.
Right?
There you go.
That is, I have no problem with stuff ending up like that. What I do have a problem with sometimes is every now and then I Google Imagination Manifesto to see like what's going on with it on eBay and on other like third-party sellers, because for a while people were selling signed copies of the first volume. I have an alternate cover which has a lower count, or at least that's what people thought. They didn't realize it was actually the same number, but. People were selling for $500, $600, and I was like, guys, I'll send you one right now for $25. Yeah, just everyone chill out.
Yeah.
And it's just the scarcity, right? People find out that a book had a low print run, that it's signed by the artist, and they try to speculate on how popular. If you are one of those people out there selling those books at that price, that's great. Let's work out a deal. I'll supply you with a steady stream of signed rare books, and you can give back to me a little bit. So I prefer the life cycle of they bought it for $5 at a secondhand store than the life cycle of, oh, someone thinks it's rare, you can't have it for more than $500. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
more accessible.
or
that
less
way.
than, yeah. I like it better to be accessible. That's what I like most about shows and what's happening with Kickstarter. It's, again, that democratization of art. People can get it at point of sale, no one in the middle. They've supported it directly. They know where the money is spent. You have to provide on Kickstarter your budget, where every dollar is going and why.
That was the biggest thing. You need to prove to people through the campaign, through the Kickstarter, they need to believe that this is going to happen, right? Especially with graphic novels. So that was a big thing with why I did it timeline-wise, is the book is like 90% finished right now. It's 104 pages, and I think I have 11 unfinished pages. So there's tons and tons of finished artwork and mock-ups of what the final book is going to look like on the campaign. So there's no doubt that if
Like,
this gets...
even if he got killed on the way down the elevator today, we would just have a book that was 11 pages shorter. Like, we'd still fulfill it, you know? It's not even a...
And that was a big mistake I saw with like people who weren't getting funded, or it seemed like it was a real struggle for them to get funded, was they had a loose idea of what the project was going to be, but they really didn't give me a good sense of like, I can't envision what this is going to be at the end. You haven't given me enough artwork, enough details, enough anything, so I don't really believe in you.
Yeah. And for people hoping to learn a little bit about the back end of these projects, we don't have to go into like the dollars and cents details, but it is important to note that Justin and I made separate agreements. So how the IP is shared on this project depends on where the money comes from. So if we have to print the book ourselves, pay for that all ourselves, then it'll be closer to equity on the total project, because we're putting all that money and time. I'll buy his time basically for equity of that project. But if Kickstarter is where the money comes from, then the project ownership shifts the lion's share to Justin, because he did all the majority of that work, and other people paid the difference instead of me, right? So that's what we worked out. So don't be afraid, collaborators out there, to have two kinds of agreements. And, you know, your artist needs to be paid for their time more than you, writer, needs to be paid for your idea that you came up with while lying in a field of lilacs somewhere. Right? And as a writer-artist, I feel very strongly about this.
Yeah, it was a very fair agreement. I think we're all really happy with like the business hat side of things. Yeah, we're all in this for like the long term, like not just this project, but we have a lot of other projects in the works, and you know, nobody wants to.
Oh, your board.
off.
Where'd your board go?
It's over here. My
Oh,
board's
he
over
pointed
here.
over there. Yeah, we have a lot of different things. So we're hoping it's the start of
yeah,
just
that's
a
kind
new
of
way of doing it.
It's a silver lining of So because there was no conventions, because I wasn't gone every other weekend for a couple days at a time, the amount of like focus I was able to lean into this project was amazing. I don't feel super stressed out that the kind of like one of the finish lines is coming up, because I've been here and I've been able to work on it, and I haven't been distracted by other trips and stuff like that. So that's been kind of nice to have this amount of time to concentrate on the one project. And even like, say conventions came back for 2021, we have a vaccine back to normal, I would probably try to plan my year so I could have 4 to 5 months blocked away just to work on one project like this.
Okay.
Now that I've done it the once, like, this is how I want to do it from now on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because usually you guys do take, I don't know if it's 4 months, but you have a few months off, like January, February.
But we always
but
fill that up with events.
There
and stuff.
are stuff. Yeah, there are events that happen there that you guys do as well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and the other side, like the first 2 months of COVID, that was hard on me. But the last 3-4 months, sort of found my stride. The family righted the shit. Like, we know how it's all working now.
What is the final stage? Acceptance?
Yeah, we're in acceptance now, in this final stage of grief. We did do that. You mourn your old life, right? You go through all of that, and it's hard, but you know, it's a necessary part. The other side too, that Justin made, he sent me this great text.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about this.
Right? He sent me this great text. He says, "You know what I miss the most?" I was like, "Oh, okay, here's something profound." He's like, "I miss the boredom that comes around shows where your good ideas arrive."
Yeah.
When you're
He's
waiting
been working
in an
so
airport,
hard that he hasn't had any time to be bored.
Well, when you're in your house, you have access to your TV, your computer, your phone. Like, I would go from like painting for a couple hours, and then I'd go to the living room and I'd sit on the couch and watch Netflix, and then go on my phone, and then I'd go straight back to working. Like, there's no downtime anymore, right? Like, I'm constantly have input. Even when I go for runs, I'm listening to podcasts or audio books. And I was thinking about like how like the final storyboard of Dragon Nanny poured out of me at the Vancouver Comic-Con in the mornings and at nights when there was nothing to do other than sit at my table, like, because it was a bit of a slower show. I had hours where there was nothing for me to do. I can't use my internet because I'll rack up my data. I can't watch TV, listen to music. I have to be just sitting there.
The exploring is inward during, you know.
And so suddenly your mind starts working overtime on other things, and the whole story just was clicking into place. And I was having all these other good like business ideas of, okay, like once this is done, I want to do this and that, like, and I realized often my big grand plans come from when I'm on like traveling or on a trip where I can't have access to getting work done or being at a computer or being on my phone. Like, that's when I make my plans.
We've made the joke a couple of times on the podcast about like your flight is canceled or delayed. Like, I'm in the airport and it's like, oh, the flight is pushed back 6 hours. Great.
Yeah.
And I'm like so thrilled. Like, it's shitty that I can't get home, but that's 6 hours of like,
dude,
sketching and thinking and just being with myself. You know, yeah, you're in a crowd, and yeah, you know, an airport is not a great place if you have to stay there a long time, but it can be amazing also.
There was you and me in Minneapolis, the one where you got off the plane and just ran, and I was caught up behind, and neither of us made it. And we just sat at like a bar for like 2-3 hours, and I can't exactly remember like what it was, but we got some real like career changing plans put into motion because of that 3 hours of nothing else to do but
it's like
blue
if you
sky.
couldn't continue with what you were planning, what other plans can you come up with?
I love them. I love that airport. I've spent about 6 hours in Minneapolis.
I hate that airport.
What?
It's so long.
It's a very large airport.
Depends where your flight is.
It's got a pretty much there's that too. But if you're stuck there for 6 hours, there's lots to do because it's like basically got a mall in there.
That's right.
You can kind of go around to different things. And I was stuck there for a while one time. I didn't have any profound life-changing epiphanies, but I had some good food.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as long as we're lamenting what things we miss a little bit, every now and then you get bumped a day, like you're supposed to be home on a Monday and you have to come home on a Tuesday or whatever. And just being able to
Explore a
strange city.
Yeah.
There's so many good things that come from exploring a strange city, you know, with a pinch of danger and a little bit of confusion while you're around in some other part of the world. Yeah, some really special things can happen, right?
It's true.
So for sure. It feels so good to be back, Dan.
It does.
It's good to have you back, even if I barely recognize you behind that mask. And dear listener, we miss you. If you're someone that listens to us at show or meets us at shows, we miss you so much, and it won't be so long before we are together again. This has been Super Pulp Science. This is Gregory Kamichak telling you to join the fight and make comics.